Under Plum Lake by Lionel Davidson, 13, I Walk Round Me. All of that night I was dazed. Wherever I went, I was pinching myself to be sure I wasn't fast asleep and dreaming. They were treating me like a trained monkey. I had to punch a kid's nose for him. The kid was astonished. They were all astonished. His nose bled and he dabbed it and looked at the blood and couldn't think why I'd done it. They don't fight in Egon because they have no pain and can't hurt each other. He saw I was angry, and he saw blood coming from his nose, but he couldn't connect the two. It made so much sense to him. It made as much sense to him as if I'd gone and hit the wall, but I was angry before then. The parties were all for different students of Dido's group, and he was chuckling as we drove to the first. He said we'd give them a surprise. We got to the first, and he told the giant at the door not to announce us, and he went in the hall and heard where the party was and sneaked in. There were 20 or 30 kids in the room, but half a dozen in the center were causing most of the noise, and the rest were laughing at them. Nobody noticed us at first. Then Dido gave a cough, and a girl who was drinking Tigra looked round and saw him. Then she saw me and dropped the Tigra. She dropped it on a kid who was sitting on the floor, and the Tigra went frothing and curling all over him, and everyone looked round. Dido broke out laughing at their expressions. Then the kids in the middle of the room vanished, and everyone almost collapsed at my expression. I was looking for the ones who'd vanished. "Which ones?" Dido said. "There were 5 or 6 of them. They were here," I said. I walked to where they'd been. "Here?" he said. "Right here. Didn't you see them?" He winked and stepped aside, and I was standing next to myself. I was standing right beside myself. "There were 5 or 6 of them. They were here," I said. At least the other kid, who was me, said it. "Here?" said Dido's voice again. "Right here. Didn't you see them?" the other me said, and suddenly froze there with his mouth open, and I realized it was a full-size image of me, and that someone had recorded it. Also that the kids I'd seen before had been in a recording. The other me was still standing there. I walked all round him. I saw a back view of me. I put out a hand, and it went right through me. Then the other me vanished, and I was left there with my hand in the air, looking a fool, and everyone was curled up laughing, so I laughed too. But it started them. I had an idea then I'd be punching someone's nose. They also started touching my head, so that I had a series of stinging headaches. And after it, they spoke English. Some did it better than others, and Dido did it best of all. He had done right from the start. Then they were all round me asking questions, and this kid asked if I'd ever had a tail, and I punched his nose for him. He didn't make a row. Nobody made a row. I said I was sorry, and he said he was. I was just dazed. I was confused the whole night. There was so much going on. They could do everything. They could play any musical instrument. There was a game where they had to give clues and pictures, and they painted the pictures. They painted quickly and fabulously. They could do all kinds of tricks, like hopping on one hand. They could do anything any Olympics champion could do, or any musician, or any artist or dancer. I felt like an animal. I felt dumb and stupid with them. And there was the food and drink. They were drinking Tigra everywhere, and I didn't explain it before. It's silver. It's the color of a silver cacao, with maroon stripes inside, like raspberry ripple, except they move the whole time inside the silver. They drink swirls in the glass, and it swirls in your mouth, and it tastes like a Tigra forest smells. It's delicate, silvery, but better than that. You can't stop drinking it. It coats your stomach silver and acts on your brain. It makes you want to do things. And Stardew. Fantastic Stardew. It's so powerful, nobody knew its effect on me. It's a mountain flower. It's a deep violet with a white center, the cup. During the night, a drop of dew comes from the plant into the cup. It evaporates after dawn, so they have to get it before then. They freeze it right away and mix it with petals into a violet gum. It takes hundreds of flowers to make a portion of gum. You have it ice cold, wrapped in Stardew leaves. It's so cold you can hardly taste it. They were all watching me while I tasted it. I unwrapped the leaves and licked the gum. and I couldn't taste anything, so I licked it again. I still couldn't taste anything, but the roof of my mouth seemed to rise suddenly. It seemed to rise into a huge vaulted arch like a cathedral. It was a cathedral full of violets. I was walking down long corridors with soaring stone pillars, breathing and drinking violets. An organ was playing violet music. I was aware they'd sat me down, and that I was swaying dizzily. I could see their grinning faces outlined in violet. They were feeling my head and getting all my sensations. They chewed up their own gum, and I don't know who had mine. I didn't try anymore. They thought it might blow my brain. That's how it went, and that's how it went on. I don't know how many parties we went to. I know the main topic at all of them was Plum Lake. Wherever we went, they talked about it. They said it was the most terrific fun you could have anywhere. And I know I was a sensation everywhere, that they couldn't stop looking at me and touching me and asking questions, but it's gone from me now. It's all just a mix-up now. Dido made a speech wherever we went, and then we were back at the palace. I remember him telling me about places he was going to take me instead of Plum Lake. He was going to take me to a famous river with a famous waterfall. They put an extra bed for me in his room, and I must have been in it when his father came. I don't remember that properly either. Maybe he erased the visit. Perhaps Dido just told me about it. But he came, and what he said changed the plans about the famous river and the waterfall. He said he'd thought again and made arrangements, and Dido could take me to Plum Lake, except instead of having a whole week for himself, he could have just 2 days with me. In 2 days, I had to be out of Egon. The only other thing I remember is Dido talking about it. He talked for hours, but he'd only use words that were in my head, and I didn't have many for the kind of things at Plum Lake. As for what was under it, he said nothing. He knew I had no words at all for that. And where am I to find them now? I died by then. I died there. And that's the end of the second part of Under Plum Lake.